Hey guys, so today I thought I'd do part two of things that get on my nerves. And if you haven't watched part one, I'd appreciate if you watch that also. And like I mentioned in that video, I'm a really positive person. I'm laid back, easy to get along with, but sometimes there's just certain things in life or things that are said and done that can kind of rub me the wrong way, obviously because I'm human. And I thought I'd do a part two of things that get on my nerves, or that I don't agree with, or that bother me, or upset me, or whatever. And so I'll go ahead and get right into it. Number one, that one thing that bothers me is that I've heard it in multiple places and everything that people say that all Germans were Nazis, especially during World War II. That all Germans are the same. They were all fanatical SS. They all loved Hitler and all kinds of stuff. When in fact that is not true at all. There are a lot of really, really good German people who didn't agree with Hitler, and even there was even soldiers in the regular German army who they were basically just doing what they felt they needed to do, for their country, just like the American soldiers and all the other countries, troops were doing what their country basically wanted them to do and needed them to do. And there's been a lot of American soldiers who've come out and shared stories and everything. And I've heard from multiple times and even read in books where they said that, even Shifty Powers from Band of Brothers, he even said he often wondered about, some of the other German soldiers, maybe they liked the same things he liked. They liked to fish or they liked to hunt. And a lot of the American soldiers didn't view all the Germans as Nazis and stuff, because that's not true at all. There were some really, really good German people during that time, and there is now, that were not fanatical. And there's a difference between the SS and those in the regular German army. You know what I mean? And so it really bothers me when all German people are categorized as Nazis or Hitler supporters, when in fact that's not true. A lot of them were completely against him, and so I just wanted to clear that up. That's where I stand on that. And number two, one thing that gets on my nerves, and a lot of you can agree with me on this, is I like a good old war movie. I've got over 400 war movies in my collection. I've been watching them since I was a kid. I'm about to be 33 years old in May. One thing that hardly ever that I see is accurate in a war movie is nobody reloads. You'll have a bolt-action rifle that most of them hold 5 rounds, and they'll fire like 6,000 rounds. Or you'll have an M1 Garand that a guy can shoot day and night nonstop, and he never runs out of ammo. Or a guy will have an M1 carbine, holds 15 rounds, and somehow hundreds of rounds just magically keep happening to be fired out of that rifle, and there's no reloading that takes place. And it's silly, but that's something that bothers me, because it's not realistic. And so I'm gonna show you examples of what I'm talking about. If for some reason you aren't familiar with watching war movies, maybe you're new to this channel or whatever, but I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. So here we go. Alright, so most of you guys know I love my M1 Garand. I'm going to use this as an example. This right here is called an en-bloc clip. Most of you know that. For the M1 Garand, feeds from the top, ejects after the 8th round, makes a ping sound. Holds 8 rounds. See, there's 4 plus 4 is 8. And from the top, kind of at an angle, there's 8, right? And this is an empty one. Now, I'm trying to figure out, when I'm watching a war movie, how, they feed this same thing in the top of the rifle, and they just keep firing. But somehow, all of that right there comes out of that rifle. So I'm trying to figure out how this clip that holds 8 rounds, how can all of these and the ones all over the floor, how can they fit in there? I just can't figure it out. I don't know if there's like a trap door or secret hiding spot in here, or maybe it's secret hiding spot in the rifle. I don't know. But I'm trying to figure that out, right? It bothers me. So let me shove all this out of the way. Alright. Now, I also, most of you guys know, I like my my M1 carbine, right? And right there, I've got examples of a 15-round magazine. Right? Holds 15 rounds. Feeds from the bottom. You know, you basically pop it into place. Charge around. You know what I mean? And so here's one that's loaded. You see it's loaded from the top. Holds 15 rounds, right? 15. And here's an empty one, right? There's not one in there. You see they're the same size. They hold the same rounds, right? And again, you know, just like all the 30-06 spent shell casings that you see, you know, in movies, you'll see a guy, he'll be in a battle or whatever, and out of that 15-round magazine, this is what happens. All this is what comes out. That, all that, and I'm just, how does all of this fit in one of those? If you can figure that out, I mean, maybe you're a genius and you could win the Nobel Prize or something. If you can tell me how all hundreds and hundreds of rounds or thousands fit in a 15-round magazine. If you can figure that out, let me know. Put it in the comments, and I look forward to reading what you guys have to say on this matter. So I'm going to be moving on to the next one. All right, so number 3, here we go. Something that gets on my nerves is when people think and say that everything is valuable and rare, etc. Now, let me say this. I know a lot of people who put stuff on eBay or internet, whatever. A lot of them just don't have any knowledge. They might go off some random thing they saw and think that's what it is, but there's just so many people out there that they just think everything, just because something's old, it's got to be valuable and it's got to be rare and worth a ton of money, right? You know, just, I mean, this has been bothering me for years. And like, you'll see something for sale and they'll put in all caps rare, and it's like the most common thing. Like they made, you know, 20 million of them or 500,000 or what. It's not rare. I just wish, like me, I'm OCD, so I wish people would somewhat educate themselves before they try to sell something. You know what I mean? And I've always felt like basically as the buyer, really it's not our job to educate the seller. They should have already done their homework and did some research or reaching out to experts or whatever, gotten appraisals and found out the true value of something before they sell it too cheap or they put a ridiculous price on it, right? And so not everything is rare. Most things are common. I would say probably 95% of stuff is common. You know, there is rare stuff out there, but I wish people would do their homework more. That's what I'm saying. Now, number 4. Another thing that really bothers me, gets on my nerves, is when people don't think learning about history is important. You know, and that's dangerous because we need to learn our history and know our history and learn from mistakes and everything else, because history can, and a lot of times it will repeat itself. It'll come back around, right? There's people that think, you know, collecting anything old, antiques or whatever, or even military, people think is stupid, is dumb. Like, what's the point? Now, you know, obviously, I love military stuff. That's what I collect. That's what my passion is and everything. There's other people that might collect other things that aren't my thing. They're not, you know, they're not what I would collect for myself. But I'm not going to run them down and put them down. You know, if that's your thing, you know, you do your thing. I think it's healthy and it's a good thing for everybody to have a hobby and collect something. You know what I mean? But it just bothers me when people just don't think history is important. They don't care about reading history books or studying or just learning. They just don't care. You know, they're just stuck right now and what's going on right now in the world, which we do got to be careful about what's going on now in the world too. But history is important, you know. All right, number 5. This is another thing that bothers me. Is people who don't handle firearms safely or properly. Now, I know when it comes to, you know, teaching someone, you know, we gotta teach them to do these things in the right way. But what bothers me is when, you know, everybody always wants to put stuff on the internet and go viral and become a famous person, millionaire, whatever. But I can't stand it when people are doing unsafe things with firearms and they post these videos of people getting shot or they're close to being shot or whatever. And honestly, I don't think that stuff's funny. I think it hurts the gun community, because we got especially now, we got all these people who are anti-gun doing everything they can to strip gun rights, you know, and the gun control, and some of it is, you know, fear-mongering, it is, and propaganda. But I mean, I just can't stand, like, if for example, if I was to be on video, making a video, for some reason I did something unsafe, I'm not going to post that video, because the anti-gunners and stuff and all these politicians, they feed off of that. They'll look and they'll see those videos and look and they'll think just because a small percentage of people are fools or idiots or whatever, they think that basically applies to all of us. And, that's not right. So, I don't think it's funny when people mishandle weapons. And I've heard it said before, a lot of people have been killed by unloaded weapons, right? They thought it was unloaded. They handled it in a non-safe way, and they were killed, or they killed somebody else, So, it's not funny, and there's times where we need to correct people or whatever, you know what I mean? And we just got to be careful what's promoted or put on the internet, whether it's a picture or video or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just, we got to make sure people are properly trained and know the basics of firearms uses and safety and handling and everything. So, and lastly, now this is near and dear to my heart. This really messes with me. This is my last one on this video. I cannot stand it when people disrespect the American flag. There's all these videos of people burning the flag, stomping it, spitting on it, dragging it across the ground, whatever else. They don't stand for it. You know what I mean? And I cannot stand that, because we're so privileged, and we got so much to be thankful for nowadays, of all the sacrifice of the men and women over all these years, all these wars, all the bloodshed, all the people who gave the ultimate sacrifice. And I'm just like, if you're that unhappy in America, then move. Just like all these celebrities, a lot of them said they were going to move if Donald Trump got president. Well, I'm waiting on them to leave. They're liars. If you're that unhappy with America, then you need to move somewhere else. You know what I mean? Don't disrespect the flag. And a lot of it's just a bunch of wimpy people. You know what I mean? And they like to, incite riots and chaos, and they like all this fighting and tension and everything else. It's just stupid. You know what I mean? Not that everything that's ever happened in history is something that we can agree with, but I'm just saying, though, don't disrespect the American flag. That's just terrible. You need to be thankful for all the men and women who sacrifice, who are overseas right now, or even in country. They're here now, or basically they're still here in the U.S. They're still serving. They're still willing to, to leave their families and go to foreign countries and lands and fight if they had to and die for this country, right? And a lot of you that are watching this have already done those things, and I thank you for your service. I really mean that. So don't disrespect the flag. Don't stomp it. Don't set it on fire. Don't do that stupid stuff. That's just silly. You know what I mean? That's just not right. But anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to try to, make videos more often now. Hopefully at least one every, maybe 5 or 6 days. But I got some more ideas coming on. And so I look forward to making the next video and sharing with you guys. As always, thank you for your support. And I'll talk to you later. Thank you.